Aloha and welcome to the Rainbow Wrap Up. And it is our post bye week, and we're going to call it a bye week because last week was our first time that we actually missed doing this podcast. But that's because, we've been busy. We've been obviously traveling a lot. Myself, you've been following us on social media at HI Sports Fans. Please do that. You'll see all the different places that I've been, especially SoFi Stadium. I took my mom for the very first time, and she had a really amazing time seeing the Rams versus the Titans. The Titans pulled that one out without Derrick Henry. They're a great team, great defense. But the best part about our Hawaii Sports Fans section is that we're right on the visitors tunnel. So we had all the Titans lined up, and that was amazing. But I'm going to drop that little commercial in right away because we are heading into the second half of the NFL season. We got some tours coming up, and I really want to be able to take you as Hawaii opens up and, stadiums open and public spaces open. But people are becoming more courageous to go out and travel. And, I want to be that person that's going to help you get to that next level of your sports adventure. So let's start over again at hisportsfans.com. Check it out. And make sure you join our contact list. But before we go any further, this past week we had an amazing game in Manoa. It was the first time that the capacity of the stadium had the potential of being met. Was it met? No, it was not. 9,000 seats were not occupied, but we do have some positives. So we have vowed to start there because there were positives. And of course, I'm going to invite our one and only, the man with the mostest, the man who's very consistently sharing his views, sharing his report cards, sharing his who you got. And that's the man to follow on Twitter, on all social media. But our friend, Sean Iman, welcome back to the show, Sean. What's up, man?
What's up, every game, Wayne?
Well, I gotta brand that a little bit better. Thank you for that though. But how are you doing, Sean? Sorry for cutting you off, but how I
no
how
problem. Mixed emotions. Like, I was so happy to see all my friends and just see like live football again. It's been almost 2 years, so I was very happy to be at at UH to see that lit student section. That is the rowdiest I've ever seen them, like, ever. So, like, yeah, props to the students for getting it going.
Well, I got to be right in the midst of that as well, that hurricane of students, and it was good. And there was a obvious novelty for the situation, the first time ever doing it. So
there obviously corner.
There was an energy in the air, but, like I told you, I wanted to establish Calvin's corner in honor of our one and only Calvin Turner Jr., who did score a touchdown in our end zone, but did run to the other corner instead and not to us, but that's fine. He was cool because when he entered the end zone, he got to, do it in front of all his peers and his fellow students. And that was cool. That was something he hasn't ever got to do yet since he's been at UH, is score a touchdown in front of, a lot of people, like students, and doing it with the ruckus and the cacophony that was happening in that end zone where I sit as well, section 160 in my season ticket seats. And I think it's has the potential for being the loud side, because it is a loud area, because the rest of the stadium not as loud, but that's not surprising at all, because what we've been talking about since the beginning is our transition from Aloha Stadium, which was already losing fans at a very rapid rate. And we already know, we talk about this every week, but the gross majority of our fans are older and who have been doing this for a long time and who have been super loyal, and nothing will pull them away, but things are starting to pull them away now. And that's why we have less people. The students were added last minute. There would have been a lot less students had more people bought tickets. That's the fact. So they let more students in. And the reason they don't let too many students in, even though they could allow more in, is because students do not bring added revenue. They pay a activity fee that's included in their tuition, but when that does that, they don't pay anything on top of that to go to football games or any sports. I believe they get in free to every sport. So either UH has to up the the fee, which is not a bad idea. I mean,
Yeah.
really, honestly, make it the price of the season ticket, even more so, like another $150. Which they're gonna have to do. I mean, I honestly, I'm gonna leave that right there. That's something they're gonna. I don't see other options. I think that's gonna be one of the easier ones. Let's face it, because they'll face the least amount of political backlash.
It's a revenue generating stream.
Heater.
And they're going to have to do that because they are not going to have as many season ticket holders as they thought they were. So,
well, and that's the thing, is that because we've had such a solid core, and that's what I talked about, having a core is important. Having especially for D1 football, when 15,000 is the number, is the metric they give you, you better have 15,000 season ticket holders, so you can at least know you're gonna have that many frickas in the seats.
Okole's in the seats.
Okole's in the seats. You know what I mean? Because we are not going to be able to count on casual fans or the walk-ups. Like, no one's walking up to Manoa, University of Hawaii, at Manoa.
Yeah, you're not going to go there and fight the traffic without
no one's ever going to walk up. You could have walk-ups at maybe, if we had the stadium somewhere else, but to have the day of interest is very minimal when people barely know when the game is happening. And let's face it, we had friends close to us that didn't even know tickets were available to everyone. So that is one thing too, that maybe factors that will allow for more people to come to the next game. So for the most part, it will be a pass, but we had people clamoring for weeks. So we thought, months, years, let's face it, years to get into a football game, and going out and saying all kinds of things about the governor, which he deserved. But when he finally lets things open, cannot even get a quarter of what we would normally get, or a third of what we would normally get at Aloha Stadium. So I just think this is the byproduct of years of neglect. And I've said this for a long time, neglect on the program.
Red flags going up all over the place.
Yeah, there have been red flags for years, but nobody is really the guts, and let's face it, within the department, within the media, within the legislature, to call out what are the major systemic issues, which are a lot of apathy and on the part of leaderships. I don't think anybody that's ever been a leader at UH or within the administration has tried to ever bring the program down, and there are people that have done that, other school academics. And even with Hawaii's shaky relationship between the academic community and the athletics programs, it's not like adversarial. So I just think there's people that just don't know how to take it to the next level. And I'm saying that from the top, from the presidents down to the legislature. And first of all, I don't think it's important that much to Ige or the legislature. So that's not their business. That's not their kuleana to. It's like saying that Ige should be in the unemployment office making it run smoothly. Like, obviously he's the governor, but they hire people to run the unemployment office. And the guy quit because it was so much pressure, because people only want accountability when they need something. And they have yet to have to show any kind of accountability a lot at the administration and athletics. So there hasn't been much that's needed to change. And it's not like, Ige is putting his foot down, and not that he needs to, because when he finally opened the gates for people, Hawaii still couldn't fill 9,000 facility, and it didn't. And let's talk about.
And it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it wasn't close. It wasn't close. The opposite end zone from us, the end zone that the Les Marcami Stadium is on, that was maybe a quarter full at best in that entire section. At best, a quarter. And that's probably more like 15%.
And there were a lot of San Diego State fans in that corner.
Yeah, there were a lot of San Diego State fans. I mean, it's really San Diego State brought a lot of people. So it's sad because it's not like people are just going to come. Everyone's just going to come back. I know that people stayed home because it was on national TV. Okay. But once again, people clamoring to get into the stadium. Let's remember that. So if you're clamoring so much to get into the stadium, you had your shot. And if you chose something else, that's not a judgment on you. That's just the fact that if you are such a hardcore fan or consider yourself that, and you didn't show up, how are we supposed to expect of casual fans is where I'm going with this still. It's like, we can't expect our core, because we don't really have a hardcore that much anymore. We mostly have a bunch of casual fans who really believe they're hardcore, and we have quote unquote hardcore fans who only exist as online personas and freaking anonymous people. That doesn't count. That really doesn't count. Like, I'm so tired of people really
But
thinking that counts. Like,
there's
show
only
up
a
in real life.
handful of those people, though, don't you
No,
think?
but I'm saying in terms of making noise, though, people are like, everyone's going. It's like, no, online personas, a few of them, and media people are caring, because if anybody was real, they would say, hey, how are we going to get 9,000 people? Everybody just assumed. I mean, how many people do we know that immediately bought multiple tickets, 3 or 4 tickets, even though it was just them by themselves, and couldn't sell them because nobody wanted to go? They couldn't even give them away.
Well, yeah, I saw people like Aaron. Aaron was giving away his tickets for free, and I don't think anybody.
It's $85 ticket.
Yeah, nobody gave up, and so I think UH was served a harsh dose of reality on Saturday, and I think the price point is way too high on the season tickets. They've overestimated the product value of it.
Yeah,
and with the older we have an older fan base that are, a lot of them are on fixed income and probably just can't afford $100 for a game.
mm-hmm.
And then you throw in the COVID fact, and they're going to stay away. And then limiting, like a lot of people only had like 2 tickets. And if they have families, it's hard to break it up like that. So a lot of people just opted out. I'll just watch it at home.
I mean, there was an opportunity to buy when the Publix came. You could add tickets. You really could add tickets a lot, even close to your section. I don't think any section is so packed. There are sections near the 50 that are a lot more packed, because the higher up people wanted to obviously kapu those areas, early on, because they want to get the best views and whatever. But those areas also become dead zones, because those people are typically not the loud ones. They're not the ones making the most noise. But then you had a lot of people that just dropped out, that were fans for so long in Aloha Stadium, but don't want to pay, like you said. And then let's just note that the per game prices, the cheapest, so it went from $30 to $85. When you prorate the season ticket price, it's not that much, I believe. It could be actually with the price of the, yeah. Well, okay. So at least for my seats in 160, section 160, which are the cheapest seats, and which I don't mind. I'm glad that they're cheapest seats. I really got those seats because I wanted to make that corner a loud and rambunctious area. And plus it's near the students. So I think it's already, the potential is already being seen, which I like. I mean, that's one thing I like about the stadium, because that's different, but that's like a high school thing. I mean, it feels like you're squeezed in there, and you are. And but it's also cool because you're right up against the end zone. So there's a lot to like and not to like. I'm going to have fun anywhere I go. And of course I'm going to support my team. This is UH. This is my team. It's been since I was a little kid. It's in my DNA. And that's what people have been, what's been taken advantage of, is that, like me, a lot of these people have just had in their DNA, and they renew every year, or they donate, and eventually you're not going to have, because the next generation is not like that. I mean, people in their 40s, I would say 40s and 50s. I mean, I don't think in Hawaii there's that much interest as much as 20 years ago, the 40s and 50-year-olds, So I just think that the administration's inability to attract new fans for so long, and instead just hemorrhage season ticket holders, like every year. And that's the best metric, season ticket holders. That's why I'm saying season ticket holders need to be, and especially when 15,000 is what that number that you need to keep for.
It used to be 15,000 pre-COVID.
No, I mean, it's still going to be 15,000. They just said during COVID, we giving you one waiver, obviously, because you're moving from your giant freaking stadium to your small, tiny thing. But next year, when you go to 15,000 and you grow it, we're going to start expecting you to be, they're not going to like kick people out, but I mean, Hawaii's not going to reach 15,000 probably ever again. I don't
No.
consistently every game. Because if 15,000 is
No.
a capacity, you know, and that's the thing. The only way to reach that number capacity is to let in more kids. Really, that's your best bet.
Right.
And the kids are having fun, and it is fun. It is. They really just have to walk down from away from their dorms. They can see their friends, and that is the best part. I have always been, and I'm not a proponent of on campus. It's that this has just been thrown together, and and really the administration acts like they were so shocked and surprised, and we should feel bad for them. Like, I don't feel bad. Like, this is your job, first of all. Second of all, the stadium authority, your relationship should have been nurtured a long time ago with them. And the stadium authority just kind of acts on their own. They make it's crazy what taxpayers' money in Hawaii, how it's spent, and just people in cush jobs who are just upholding each other. And when you're doing so in the name of a D1 program, one of the few FBS programs in the entire country, and then you set it on some cruise control, and throw in some state of Hawaii politics, you're not trying to grow our program. What you're doing is trying to maintain your job. And that's really disappointing. And that's been happening for a long time in Hawaii. Like, what big, like one noticeable thing I'll say, which is different, which is something that tried and said was too expensive, but that's only because they didn't grow their fan base, is the Rainbow Teak. Because the Rainbow Teak was the best thing that happened for
I loved
and
the
their
Rainbow
apparel.
Teak. Yeah, I loved it. They had lots of different brands and lots of different companies that made stuff.
Yeah.
And I would always go to the Ward one. And like I felt that the Under Armour store that replaced it was a big step down.
Yeah.
A big step down. Because they just, even that, like the way that they had the shelving, and it was just like a garage sale. So I don't know.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, things have been for so long. These are common things, common themes. And I've been to every Mountain West school, and I've been to a lot of other schools, FBS, and I've taken a lot away from all those other schools. And other schools that have a lot of money, I'm not like, oh, we should be like that. Oh, we should have that, obviously. But the ones in the Mountain West, and now that I've been to every Mountain West school, facility-wise, now we're at with Aloha Stadium, we were at least near the top. And people make fun of Aloha Stadium, but it's a stadium that has legends,
absolutely,
that has history. And now we're literally on an aluminum foil stadium on campus that is a high school stadium. It is a high school stadium. It's a high school stadium with suites, which high schools could have suites. It's not like those suites are like next level suites. They're just normal suites with windows, tinted windows.
It's a glorified practice field.
It is.
/ high school stadium.
It is.
And I don't care. You can sell, try and put a bow on that and, spruce it up. The fact of the matter is it's still a practice facility / high school stadium. And there's nothing you can do to get away from that. It is a big step down from Aloha Stadium. I feel like now more than ever, we need the new Aloha Stadium project.
Yeah.
And this needs to be temporary, because this makes us generic.
Yeah, it does.
Totally
it really
generic.
Does. It really
Bottom
does.
of the barrel D1, an afterthought. This is not going to get good recruits.
Yeah.
It's not going to, it's just, I just see us spiraling down. I
mean, but like, let's just talk about what it's going to look like. Because to be fair, and I've said this from the beginning, this year is not the final product. We know that, but
but
already huge issue is I never knew what the score was the whole freaking game. Like, how is that possible at a game, any game, even JV game? They would make sure had one at least manual scoreboard somewhere on the stadium so people know the score. Literally one screen, and I was blocked from it the whole time. I couldn't see it. So I was literally guessing the score, guessing the time left. I had no clue. I mean, I had no information available.
You didn't miss anything. They have that video board, but they don't show stats or anything, timeouts.
And you got to put a bunch of LED. You can put LED lighting up. You got to spruce it up. And I'm saying you can do that in the future.
So we
But
went to
right now,
Zippy.
that could have been something, an LED scoreboard, even if it was a generic one that just said Hawaii or UH and had the
Timeouts.
numbers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that could have been under the on the side of the TC Ching on the building side. I cannot see nothing from my. I could literally see nothing from my Central
So you're
160.
watching the game in the dark.
No, I was looking at ESPN Gamecast to
Well, that's
see how much time
yeah.
was
We went
left.
to Zippy's afterwards, and my dad, who went to the game with us, he was complaining that he didn't know what was going on. There's no way to
Yeah.
track the game. And the guy said, "Oh, I was just watching it, watching the stats on my phone." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to do that."
That's what I did. That's what I did too. I just watched it on my phone, and that's sad though. Like, I'm not there to watch. I'm not there to look
That's
at my
basic
phone. I'm there to
stuff.
watch the freaking field.
It's basic stuff.
And they could have put a monitor somewhere with the field. Like I'm saying, like you gotta like fan experience. That's not something that was thought of. And I'm not saying, and once again, it's not even about putting money. There's ways of making things work with what you already have. A projector.
Right.
Put a video projector and project onto the side of a building. I mean, legitimately, that would still be better. Freaking 24-hour fitness Kapulani does that on the side of their entire TV, of a side of their entire freaking gym. So can you imagine that level being on the side of a building in the darkness, which we had, at least in the second half? You would at least been able to have the amount of points scored. And that was the thing. It's like we didn't even know what the score was, what the times was. It was just
right.
And so like now looking at it forward though, Sean, because the way I look at it from my section, I could see them filling in the pukas, but the only thing I can see them filling in the pukas is more aluminum bleachers. Like that's
Right.
it. Like that's the only upgrade for the next, because they said go up to 15 to 20. If you fill aluminum bleachers, at least on the diamond head side, on the side, like, well, first of all, you have those beach volleyball courts there, so they got to figure out.
Are they going to remove that? Are they?
I mean, I guess they're just going to build bleachers on top of it, maybe over them that cover them.
Okay.
But I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Even when it's built, what is it going to look like? I mean, like, is it going to have ramps? Is it going to have like a wagwan? If you're in Jamaica, they say wagwan. So we got our boy Harmony checking it from Jamaica. But no, you have even at stadiums that are aluminum. Like I'm looking at UCF, right? I talk about I was there at UCF this past year in Orlando. In February, I got to see what their stadium looks like, and it's like aluminum and whatever, but they have very special areas. Like they decked it out. Like you have to have imagination, and first of all, they fill that place.
70,000 kids going to their school.
But before, they've also had a culture.
Yeah.
They have a culture, and that's the difference. It's different to have a culture. I mean, like, and you have to want to not only embrace the culture yourself, but believe that it's worthwhile and valuable enough that strangers, or even at least the people that live in your own island, in your community, will also embrace your program and that culture. But there's no desire to outreach and to gain new fans. It's just like, well, let's just hope people stop on by.
The student section was nice. The uniforms were nice.
Yeah.
And
there are ways though, to be honest, the uniforms, if we have an alternate, give us the throwbacks. Well, we've been asking for throwbacks for how long? And let's be honest, Sean. I mean, I'm not trying to be a killer of Merca patriotism, but it's not like it's 1941 December 7th. It's not even something that kids are. We know that it's a day, but it's also, there's a lot of problematic issues with the fact that Hawaii is being occupied. The fact that Pearl Harbor wouldn't have been bombed, if America wasn't there in the first place. Japan was not trying to bomb Hawaii. That's not even a joke. That's just the facts. And then America went and dropped a freaking nuclear bomb on them. So, and killed a bunch of innocent people. So don't get me started on that. So, but if you're because that is political when you do make a 1941. And I know it is love, and you said you love it, and it is what it is. That's what I'm saying. People have been doing things for so long that they love so much. Guess what? Not enough people are sticking around, Sean. Your 1941 your uniforms are not enough to get people coming. That's my issue. So as much
Apparently,
as we
yeah.
have, cool uniforms would bring more people out. That's the thing. They're not cool enough. They were just plain and gray and like tried to buy into the whole America
So yeah, so
patriotism thing.
let's just go there. Like I'm sitting there and the student section is great, but the other 3/4 of the stadium, it's like a morgue. It's like a library. I could see Shane, Lau Head. He's the only one standing up,
Yeah.
saying stuff, and
Yeah.
like the San Diego State players were heckling him because he was the only one talking. So I mean, this is a problem. Like,
Is
there's
it
worse.
a problem for Lala? I mean, is it a problem for him? I don't know. Like some people
There-
don't mind being in a sea of quiet people cheering by themselves. That's what I'm said. Is it a problem enough to us? Because it's a problem to me, but to the other super fans in
So
our base, I don't know if it's a
the
problem enough
feeling,
because
the
people like
feeling I
to.
got, the feeling I got was it was like watching my uncle be on life support.
Yeah.
Being at that UH game, like I was so happy to see that the student section was rock. But you look at all the other, like people are just sitting there and
Yeah.
not doing anything.
The Cole Brandon thing, which I'm going to keep calling it a Cole Brandon thing because that's what it is. The one love standing up
Yeah.
and putting, that's a cool thing. There are new traditions that are cool that we're going to build on. That's not the point. The
But-
point is
So they play
trying
the
to
brother is
build new fans and sustain a large enough fan base to keep maintained FBS status, which never before. And things have changed since the beginning. Because like I said before, I always used to say, well, we shouldn't worry about the 15,000. Like they're going to let us give us a waiver, and they have already. And I've been right about
Yeah.
that, but they're not going to let us waiver our on forever.
this is not sustainable. What we have
Exactly.
right now, it is not enough to keep us where we need to be. And that's
Yeah.
a problem. And people are making good money and not delivering on what they need to do
Yeah.
in the athletic department. And like it's just so the thing is dying. It's dying on the vine. And I don't think I'm overreacting because, it was on TV, like this was people's chance to see this. It showed that people weren't
Thanks,
clamoring
Harmony.
to see this.
Yeah.
You starve them for 2 years and you get a half full stadium that's 9K. That's ridiculous. And it was UH's job to jam that thing out, and they couldn't deliver on that.
No.
And I know that they had a small window, but they needed to put on a show.
They didn't have a small
The
window
football
though.
team
It's like
too.
the trigger
played
should have
like
been
crap.
pulled when a trigger was ready to be pulled. Like you could have pre-sold tickets. It wasn't going to be like if they really thought that this was going to be some BTS, Bruno Mars type level of people waiting to get in, then that means they're out of touch, which they are. So that's also probably why they had waited to Thursday. But clearly the window should have been a lot longer than 2 days, just for the fact that people didn't even know how many people. That's why I'm saying, like, we don't even have a core of enough fans that are paying attention on their own enough. Because guess what? When you want something, you need to go and market to people. You need to get in front of their faces. You need to show why you're important. But when you've been taken advantage of for so long, and when you
Jerked
assume
around.
that people that,
Yeah.
will just come whenever, and this is something that Mayor Blangiardi now, but I shared this video on my personal Twitter. And if you want to go back and look, Mayor Rick Blangiardi, who's now the mayor, but last year before the election, he stopped by my show. We spoke for over an hour and talked about things like the terrible pay-per-view deal, which he, and he was on the other side or could have provided another side. But we know that it was a bad deal for UH because hadn't had it before, when we had better negotiators before and more, and really we still have leverage, but apparently gave it all up to block out our own fans who can't afford it, which is really sad. And, for people like my grandpa, whatever, he has to stay home, but doesn't mean he has to pay a company. I would rather him pay UH or something, make them get it's not like they're getting the additional money on top. They're getting a set amount.
No, I don't do that. I go to a big city diner and watch it there. Support local.
Yeah, then you can support local businesses. So there, and that's another way. So I just think that we are now entering a phase where we have to it's critical. And
So
the
wait,
student
have we hit
section will be better, but like I said, the students are not going to provide revenue. So you need
have
revenue.
we hit rock? Is this rock bottom? Like, I'm just wondering, like, how much farther do we have to go before we hit rock bottom?
Oh no, we can go further, Sean. Believe me, we'll go
Oh,
further. I mean, nobody who is sounding the alarm, Sean. Everyone, people are still they're raving
oh,
about the fact that we had a few dozen students standing up. Like people are like, holy cow,
yeah, they're
we're
banging the
Wisconsin
pan on
Madison
that.
now. We
They're
are
banging the
freaking
pan.
we are Iowa, Ames, Iowa now because we had some students show up. Like, bruh, like like just so disconnected and so sad because it's just like and then and I know a lot of these who these people are. It's just these are paper pushing, just generic freaking amateurs. And that's the reason that we are not at the same level as those schools that I talked about, like in Ames, Iowa, because yes, they have money. And yes, being Power Five connected is important, but establishing and keeping a solid culture and creating a culture, like, and I brought this up too on Twitter, is the chants, the let's go Bows is not even a chant, but that's what the kids had to say because we have no chants. They're like, let's go Bows. Like they're doing that over and over again. I was like, gosh, how sad. And the cheerleaders cannot come in front of my section too because there's not enough room for them to come
Yeah,
in
there's
front.
about a foot. There's
So
about a
that's why the
foot.
cheerleaders
Yeah.
will never be able to utilize. I mean, and that they can probably push back eventually, and that's probably going to go on to they're going to figure out what they're going to do with the track. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things because you can only go so far. Like you can put the track under. That's what I'm saying. They can grow
Yeah.
on top,
Yeah.
but and you got to put in some bucket seats. You got to put in some padded areas, and then they're gonna have to charge more. I mean, it's gonna be
Well, we
more
had the
than
seat
85.30.
cushions. My
Yeah.
wife's company, they bought the seat cushions. It was nice.
So how much for the
So
seat cushion?
I think it was $15 a person.
Okay, for per game.
I, I'm
Yeah,
I don't
it's
I'm
it's
not
per
sure.
game. It's not for
Yeah.
it's not per the whole season, Sean.
But
So
yeah,
you're
they put
tacking
up they
that
put them and
on.
they just leave them there
That's
though.
your tax. So you're adding.
Yeah.
So it's $100 basically.
Yeah, that's why I say
Um,
100 bucks.
and is it already there for you at least when you get to the
Yeah, so
stadium?
they put it there and they just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to sit on those pads. It's gonna be a
We
different
won't be
experience.
we won't be having that in section 160
No, 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 no. We won't
because
need
you
it
won't be
because we'll be
using your
standing
seat.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be standing. But it's fun and like I'm gonna have fun and I'm bringing my own enhancement to the stadium and my own energy and my own freaking friends and other
Yeah,
things. So I'm doing my
yeah,
part.
I bought a
I'm doing
season
part. I go to
ticket.
every game. I do my part. I go to every single game. So anything that I say at this mic, I can say because I go to every game, road and away. That's just make people remember that again. Halloween 2015. I haven't missed a game since Halloween 2015, 6 years, and that's because I have a chemical imbalance in my brain that makes me go to all these games. But still, that needs to be noted because I've now made the rounds through every Mountain West school and I've made the rounds through a lot of places. And I've seen even more so how incompetently a lot of things are run at University of Hawaii.
Yeah.
But no one's going to say it because, it is what it is. But whatever, I just go to all the games. So it is what it is. But with that being said, this weekend we do have another game. It's in Las Vegas. A lot of people will be there.
There's gonna be more UH fans there than there were at TC Ching.
Probably.
Right.
Probably.
And there might be more UH fans than UNLV fans.
Possibly as well.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that we just let happen. We take advantage
Are
of.
we
Like,
running?
people are
Are
gonna
we
show
running
up.
the table, Wayne?
Are we running the table? Probably not. But I mean, I just hope we don't lose the table. We all believe it's going to be close. Our predictions preseason were, well, Shane believes it was 40-20 that UH will win by 20. You said 26-20, which is probably more of a more logical score. I said 45-42, which I can't see us putting up 45 points against
we can't
anybody.
put up that much points. Not with Chevin's shoulder being like that. He was throwing some ducks. So
And
it's
I
tough.
mean,
I hope Day's back.
Colorado State and Wyoming are going to both be formidable.
Yeah.
We could be Colorado State at home. Wyoming is
believe
the
so.
hardest game. That's going to be
Yeah.
definitely the hardest game. I mean, that's a hard place to play. It's a hard place to win. But UNLV, first step. I know a lot of people will be there. It'll be interesting playing in the Raider Stadium, Allegiant Stadium. We've been playing this rivalry for so long in Sam Boyd Stadium, and that is a glorified high school stadium. But to be honest, Sam Boyd is better than TC Ching. So if we want to compare, Sam Boyd at least is a stadium with a concourse and cool areas and lots of parking around it. You know, it's like there's so many factors, and not that an on-campus stadium couldn't work. But I'm interested to see what it would be in it, because like if we're building on what we have up so far, I don't know what it's gonna look like. I mean, I don't know, where will we go, Sean? Like where we can fill in the pukas, but then where will we go? Like you go higher? I mean, that's what I mean is like I think
does
that
it like I feel like it doesn't matter. Like do we 15K, man? Like
yeah, I think
we have
15K is the most, and it's gonna be bleachers. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so when we connect those pukas, all we're gonna have is a big silver bowl next to
so like
sandwiched in between Stan Sheriff and Les Marcami and the pool. That's and the softball field. That's literally what we're gonna have.
I
Like,
feel like we should play the homecoming game there and the game like how we had against Portland State. Like we shouldn't have Mountain West games or Pac-12 games there. Like it's just not good enough.
yeah, I mean, but at this point, like we said, we've painted ourselves into a corner because there's nowhere else now to play.
It's a band-aid on a severed limb.
It's just
That's
a
how I
band-aid.
feel.
So we'll see what it is for next year. We'll give them until next year to see how it's built up. But the biggest issue is not the stadium, it's the fan base. That's the biggest issue. Wherever the stadium looks like, you could have a rabid fan base and they'll forgive you for the stadium and they'll fight each other to get into it. But we don't have any people clawing each other anymore. And that's what needs to be pointed out because of all of the noise that so many people were making on Twitter, on social media, on the news about how we need to get to a UH game and I need to be there. And then
where were you at?
Where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you? And that's the issue that I have, because I and you and a lot of us have been talking about how we don't think we're going to fill up, but we have so many people for so long that have been acting like Ige is the dictator and he's taking away my rights. But where were these people? I mean, literally so much noise, and Ige definitely saw the attendance figures and said, "Oh, all these people was freaking mad at going off on me, and they can't even show up to the game." So, I just hope next game. What do you say, Sean? We're gonna get 9,000 next game?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
I accept. Like I'm thinking, I thought we were gonna get 7 for this game, and I'm hoping for 7.
I mean,
show me 7.
Senior night is the last night. Even if they only let water, I mean, like, come on, like it's like nobody needs to go. I mean, like the ones that need to go to the game and drink alcohol, for one thing, like that's not really, to me, a hardcore fan. If you need to be drinking alcohol at a game, like,
yeah,
I know people that drink beers at every game, and they're not gonna be like, I'm not gonna show up if it's a dry game. Like, it's
drink
your team.
before.
Like, drink before. Come in, you'll be fine.
But
eat
don't
before. Well, I mean, you drink before you go in the game, you're gonna sober up by the end of the game anyway. So, I think it's just how people, how
they need to beat UNLV to push it to that week to keep the possible bowl momentum alive.
Oh, so you think the possible bowl will keep? You think more people will be interested if it turns into a bowl?
I kind of feel like, I hate to be a Debbie Downer. I just feel like it's too late. It's too late in the season. Like people have kind of just like written this one off.
Yeah.
The teams kind of underperform. They're not scoring a lot of points. We've got one good win. We beat Fresno State and we beat New Mexico State a couple times and Portland State, big whoop-de twang. So,
I mean, the Fresno game was our best win and we didn't even have any fans there. I mean, that's the saddest part, is like, I
I
mean,
mean, shout out to the UH band for standing in the volleyball courts the whole game.
but that's
Like,
where they did even last week.
yeah,
Even the last game, that's where they stood. Even the game before that. That's why I don't understand that. That's what I don't understand, because there was plenty of room for them in the stands. But that's the thing. UH had set apart all this room for people to buy. So they didn't want the band sitting there, and they definitely didn't want the freeloading students to be sitting there. But then as it got closer, they realized that we're going to sell nearly as many seats as they thought. So they decided to open more up to the students, who, of course, thankfully took them and, came in and were loud and were added to the atmosphere, which I appreciate. And that's what they should be doing. But at 9,000 seats, you basically have to maximize your revenue. And it has to be. So 15,000 by next year, I think, is what's going to happen. They're going to fill in the pukas with bleachers. That's what. And those two pukas on the side, or gaps, pukas, holes that we say in Hawaii. But those gaps on the side of where you were sitting, where the visiting team section connects with the visiting team sideline, that area, and then also on the other side, which is not very much room. It's going to be more room, but they're going to have to go over the Wahine volleyball courts, which is going to be crazy because you really can't, because balls go up really high there. Like, that's a part of beach volleyball, is that the balls go really high, so you can't really have anything above it.
So you're kind of locked into that space.
Exactly. Or they're going to have to put the court somewhere else. So, and to be quite frank, Sean, if anybody has ever become an AD or AD there and always looked out that window onto that field,
yeah,
you think any of them ever fantasized about having a football field there, or should have?
Absolutely not.
I mean, they should have, though. They should have. That, even if Aloha Stadium was still being built, it should have always been on the table as an on-campus thing, always. And June Jones always had it on the table. He didn't care that we had this Aloha Stadium relationship.
June was a visionary.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, to be like, oh my gosh, what do we do now? What do we do now? Okay, let's push some bleachers in. Okay, and then
But I mean, what's UH gonna do to jam the? Do you think they're gonna do anything to get more people into this last game?
I would hope so. I mean, they have to do more promos. They need to. It's their last chance to capture the revenue. So I can't see them allowing in as many kids, because they need the revenue from the ticket buyers. So I see the same thing happening again. Them waiting to the end and then letting kids in on the day of the game, when they're like Hawaii rewards or whatever on Twitter, being like, come check in or whatever.
Guess what? We're releasing 1,000 more
exactly
tickets to the students.
Exactly.
And then they'll bang the drum on how crazy the student section is. So.
But I'm saying, like, for us though, we have to be the loud ones though too. Like, right? We have to be the ones that we're gonna be there as long as we commit to be there. Me, you, loud.
Yeah, section 160. Yeah. Get your tickets.
Yeah, come say section 160.
Come join Wayne, the Hawaii sports fan, myself, Timmy. We're gonna be there for Colorado State. And
that's right. That's right.
Come and raise our let's get loud.
Yeah. So, and send us an email to info@hisportsfans.com, or send us a direct message at hisportsfans, whatever, on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Just so we know. I mean, and let us know if you got a ticket over there, where you're gonna be. Maybe we can, start something great.
I haven't met him yet. So
you've never met Kaylee, really?
I've never met Kaylee.
So Kaylee's seat is really weird. I mean, it's kind of cool that he's on the corner, which I do like. And I mean, it's cool in that way. It's weird because he's trapped there. It's like you have to. He is. There's no way out. He's there on by. There's no exit. Like, if there's a fire or something, he has to go back down his row and down. You know what I mean? So he's on the very corner. Like, the team is coming out and he's on the corner. On the sideline corner, but there's no stairs where he is. Like, even though he's in the corner, so he's just like trapped in the corner. At the end, there's poles on the side of him and there's poles in front of him. So the only way for him to get out is to go out his whole row and then go down, which is not a big deal. But for I didn't see him move, because that area gets congested too. So it's really hard. that's the one thing I liked about my area, because I went shishi a couple times and I
Yeah.
just left and then came back in. I walk out, come back in. So like that was fine with me. And there wasn't very many lines ever. I always got into a porta potty right away. I mean, there
Right.
were pauses of the game, like I said, but that kind of novelty will wear off on certain people. For me, I mean, I went to I go to everywhere to watch the team play. So you know, like I'm still gonna go wherever. But if we want to sustain people that are just going to be casual fans, this is what I'm talking about, because that's what we're gonna need. Just like in 2007 when we had all these really casual fans, but they were like acting like they were freaking hardcore fans in
Hardcore. Yeah.
2007. We know we didn't really have. That was just people trying to jump on the bandwagon. And I'm not expecting all of those people, but I'm expecting the people that we at least could count on, at least a solid 20,000, you know, that could come around. I don't even think we have solid 20,000 fans altogether anymore. You know, that would literally call themselves fans. Like, I don't even know of UH.
Yikes. I don't understand. They play Hawaii 78 and then the band starts playing Hawaii 5-0 at the same time. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, a lot of those things are, I mean, they'll
They need
clean
to
up
work
those
it
things.
out.
I like the first down. Chee-hoo, like we said. I
I
don't know
really
if
like
Billy View
that.
was doing that. And
Yeah.
I said this before. But that needs to keep, that's like us. That's what I'm saying. How do we embrace who we are, uniquely being
So
Hawaii?
that kind of stuff is better. Like, I like the, you know, the music.
Yeah, the music got
game
better.
experience.
Definitely the music got better.
The game
Absolutely.
experience is better than Aloha
Yeah.
Stadium.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kudos for them for improving that. But I mean, they need
But for a
to
lot of
work-
people, that's not the facts, though. The game experience was better at Aloha Stadium because they could sit on their comfortable chair and walk
Right.
out and go. So that's what I'm saying. Not for everybody, the game experience. To be honest, I was sitting in the first row at Aloha Stadium and I was in a bucket seat. My game experience was different at TC Ching, and I still enjoyed it because that's me, the freaking football fanatic that I am, who goes to every stadium. But I do miss like my privacy in the front row. I miss like having people in front of me that, you know, having the bars in front of me,
Yeah,
and not having to worry.
your view was kind of obstructed sometimes.
It was.
during the game.
So now it's
Yeah.
just obstructed by other things, but that's okay. But anyway, you know, we're going to be talking about this for a while as the stadium, you know, improves. We're going to say improves, but evolves, and hopefully this team evolves as well. UNLV is a very winnable game. Obviously, they're winless. I believe still winless, correct, Sean?
But it's did they get one?
I
Oh
think
no,
they're
it's 0-8.
No, I'm pretty sure they're still winless. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that still will be up to play Hawaii because they you know,
They
they
always
don't
get
want to
up to
lose to
playoffs.
Hawaii. You know,
They
they want
always get up.
they still want to play hard against a team that is going to have so many fans in their own stadium too. That's one thing that, you know, they don't like. Oh no, they're 1-8. So UNLV
Yeah.
did that.
They beat a FCS team.
I think so. So there it's -3 Hawaii, right? I think we talked about this, and Hawaii is 3-5-1 against the spread this year. So it's not really saying. It's funny how Vegas has been off on us a lot this year, probably expecting us to play better. Yeah, you've been spot on, but Vegas has been off. This season the Rainbow Warriors have, this is according to SI, the Rainbow Warriors have one against the spread win in 2 games as a favorite of 3 points or more. So anytime they're a favorite of 3 points or more, they literally only have one win in that one. So Hawaii's games this year have eclipsed the over under in 33%. So that's why a lot of our offense, as we thought would grow, we thought really it's been confusing, right? And this last game kind of showed that as well. Offense? And that's why.
What is it? I don't
know. And I think, you know, Coach Graham and Bo, they deserve you know, and Coach Graham knows this. He deserves whatever heat he's getting. But, you know, did Coach Graham put his son in a position to fail too, because of the fact that he's so new and basically he has all the reins, because Coach Graham is a defensive guy calling defensive plays, right? So it's like, was Bo, you know, given too much responsibility to shoulder?
Well, here's the thing. I think Hawaii fans have a knee-jerk reaction to anything that looks like Chow Ball. And on Saturday, that was Chow Ball. Run, incomplete pass, punt. And we just saw it over and over again. And I think that's just the knee-jerk Hawaii reaction is like, oh no, it's that again. Get that crap out of here. I mean, what do you think?
What do you mean? Get the
Get Chow Ball out of here. We don't want to see that.
Yeah, and I think like, I mean, it's not even fair to call it Chow Ball because at least, you know, Chow had it wasn't what we wanted at all, but at least we knew what we were expecting. We're like, okay, run, pass, run with this. Like, it was terrible, but it was consistent. This is not even consistent. It's like sometimes it's high flying, sometimes it's like just run, pass, and you know,
why are we running Calvin Turner into the pile?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, and that's the thing, like this show and a lot of what we talk about on at Hawaii Sports Sense, it's not X and O's based. Like, we're not here to talk football philosophy. I mean, we're here to talk philosophy in the abstract form, but we're not here to talk X's and O's because we'll let the coaches do that. But we do have a great athlete in Calvin that we need to have the ball in his hands more often. And when we have time running out down the stretch like we did in this last game, let's remind people in the San Diego State game that the game ended on our inability to snap the ball on fourth down. We had no timeouts.
Even my wife knew you couldn't throw the ball into the middle of the field with that much time on the clock.
Yeah.
So she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's, you know,
that's on the coaches. That's on Chevin. That's on a lot of them that they need to know like, game Chevin, situation.
What are you doing? Like, why are you?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes down to these small mistakes, that's what's painful. But we are playing well overall. That's the thing. And it does feel like Chow Ball because there was that year that with Chow that we lost every game by a score, like literally one score.
Right. Yeah, we
so
lost.
So it's like, Wisconsin, what's so hard about winning, finishing the job?
We were in that game at Ohio State.
Yep.
Like,
yep. So it's going to be interesting. 3 games left. Are we going to be able to get all 3 wins? I mean, I think it's possible. Wyoming is going to be the hardest one, no doubt. I can already say that one.
Right.
At least Colorado State is at home, and UNLV is basically a home game, and it's indoors in a freaking dome. So, I mean, the factors of Las Vegas is really favorable to us in a lot of ways too. So it's really going to be, can we maybe build some momentum though after this game? We need to really romp UNLV. We haven't really taken anybody to town this year at all because even all the wins were all close wins.
Right. We haven't taken somebody out behind the woodshed.
Yeah, we haven't at all.
It'd be nice to do that, but
that'll be important to do. I don't know. Yeah, that'll be hard, but my biggest issue is keeping, like we said, keeping this fan base active, keeping it with a pulse. But if not, then that's the rest on the school, and that's sad because so much tradition. And like I said, we've already lost so much. We have to be real that there's going to be trauma, PTSD from the fact that we literally left our Aloha Stadium with no closure. We were told like you never go back there again. That's all we were told, Sean. We've been going there forever. So let's stop acting like, okay, now we're going to be happy. We're in a freaking on campus. Hell no. You literally ripped us away from something we've been going to for some people for 5 decades. And you said no all of a sudden. So there's trauma from that. And it's real with people. It's real for sure. People have been going to Halava for years. They ain't just going to be like, oh, now I drive to Manoa. Now I park in a freaking parking garage and never can bring my hibachi out. No, that's gonna already
and that's
be
part of the thing is when you went, you have to figure out there's a lot of logistical things. It's like they have a lot of places like you can't go in here. It's one way here. Yeah. So you need to figure that out. And that added
the fact is the stadium, for Wahine and men's volleyball games, they get 10,000 people all the time. And it just, it's still managed. We still manage. That's the thing. We acted like there was going to be a background. Like literally you can fit more people into Stan Sheriff Center right now. So right now, the issue isn't that was hilarious to me. They're like, we need to contraflow. And yes, that's important and it will be for the future. But that's the kind of stuff that was more important now was ticket distribution, was promo for this game, was getting things out, like running overall. The game is on, running a Facebook ad. Buy tickets now at etickethawaii.com. Like Ige said, it's on. Like a lot of people didn't even know. Like we even had our conversation with the other Sean.
Why not?
And he didn't know. And he's a UH fan.
Why not make it $15 for Colt Brennan and do something to that effect just to fill it up?
Yeah. No, it's more important to just try and getting revenue back again. Like I'm saying, the fans are never thought of in that way. Like, how can we just throw the fans a bone? Like fan appreciation. And most pro teams do it. They have a fan appreciation game, or they have something that's different, like LAFC. We have something, but that's not how our program runs. And that's the most frustrating. Like, we don't have great promos, or if we ever have them. And it's like when you go to any other game, when I go to from minor league games to major league games to pro basketball, football games, it don't matter. Obviously, we're paying more money for some of these other games, but what is important to every single one of these teams is that whoever comes through those doors is going to leave with a smile on their face, whether they win or lose. They had a good time there, and that they'll remember their experience. That is the most important part about bringing people into your stadium, because we cannot control the game. It's crazy to expect the team to just keep, win, baby. And we're like, I already said this. And it's so annoying because people keep putting that on Twitter. Winning is not going to solve everything. And if winning is going to solve everything, then you're going to have to win every single freaking game and let the BCS voters or whoever the freak they had, because computers probably were better than we have now. Let's be honest. These people voting, because only 4 teams are going to make it to the national championship tournament. So we're already in a place where we're losing. We're behind the 8 ball once the season starts in college football at the University of Hawaii. So how do we enhance the product in other ways? And that's not something that is paramount in terms of a priority, in terms of an initiative for marketing, branding. It's just something that we just hope will happen, because we've been taking advantage of fans for so long that they'll just show up. They'll just donate.
Come on and join us. It's up to us, guys. It's, we got to pack that thing.
Yeah.
Because UH has proven that they can't.
Yeah.
It's up to us. So come on and join us.
Just join us. Let's have fun. Let's just make it an experience for all of us as well. And that'll attract more people, and the things that I do for this as an ambassador for the school, even though I'm not an official one, but clearly any school I go to, especially Mountain West schools, people know where I'm coming from. They know I go to all the games, and my biggest goal is just to get more people to come and to join me. That's something that I don't have to do, nor should I be doing it, but I do it because I know that for me personally, and for people like me and like Sean and like Shane and everyone else who has who have a personal connection to this program, and it's not because we have a family or member who plays for the team or a coach, or it's because that personal connection is long years of watching this team, of being with our family and friends, and having it in our bones, in our DNA. So that's the difference between what makes us hardcore super fans and the casual fans. But we need to grow. We need to keep this program going. Any last thoughts, Sean? It's been a good program.
Yeah, I want to shout out to Brad for letting me use the Calvin Turner Jr. jersey. I don't know who's next, but
we'll see who's next. I guess we'll have to have it. Maybe we'll have to put it on a poll or something and extend it out.
I just want to thank you, Wayne, for because of this show and because of my relationship with you. It's made me be a better fan, and I love this program, and because of you, it's even deeper. So thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate all your words and always being there to support me and all these different things that we do. But I'm excited for, this game coming up, our last 3-day stretch, and hopefully we finish strong. But mahalo for joining us tonight. Check us out, hisportsfans.com, and check out our mailing list, and come follow us wherever we go around the world, and hopefully to another UH game near you. Take care, everyone. Aloha.
Go Bows.